Hello and welcome to the Controller Talk podcast presented by Danfoss North America. Our goal is to bring you information about using Danfoss controls in the supermarket and warehouse industry, specifically in the US and Canada. We're doing these twice a month for now. You can catch these podcasts on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, or as the saying goes, wherever you get your podcast. And it's also available through the Danfoss Ref Tools app. For the video version, check us out on the Danfoss North American YouTube page. Search for Controller Talk to see our video library. I'm Dave Yoder, along with Chris Brown. Well, Chris, we're back with our second of 3 interviews, and this will be an interview with a guy that many people down south have come across if you've been in the business more than just a few years, and that is Mike Celestin, who worked for himself, ECI, and Danfoss, if I remember correctly. He was the go-to guy for ECI and Danfoss until he eased into semi-retirement just in the last year or two. We thought it might be interesting to talk to guys like Mike to get their take on retirement and talk about things they experienced in their careers. Did you ever run across Mike in your...
Yep, it's been sporadic here and there. At times we'll talk maybe once a week. At times we might go a few months. But yeah, I've definitely worked with Mike quite a bit over the years.
When you know the voice, you know the voice, right?
Yep. Don't need to see the area code or ask who it is. You know right off the jump who you're talking to.
That's true. That's right. And now let's go to our interview with Mike. Hello, Mike, and welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here.
All right. Is this your first podcast, or have you been maybe on one of those Swamp People podcasts before?
No, this is my first time out the box, man. Y'all be gentle with me.
Okay, will do. Are you still semi-retired?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm still telling everybody that, but it doesn't seem to matter.
Okay.
They keep calling.
Yep.
So I keep going.
Okay. Is it tough to stay out of those compressor rooms?
Not really. Usually when I get a call, if I can't get online with the different facilities, then I'm inclined to go, you know?
Yep.
And unfortunately, I got to sit in there with those noisy puppies, you know?
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, it's Chris. How you doing?
All right. How you?
I'm good. So my first question for you is, what do you think is the current state of bringing new guys into refrigeration in your area?
Good question. Well, I tell you what, we do need out here in this field. We need to somehow hold on to the guys with experience and maybe have them do a lot of training, because the new guys coming in are green as grass, and there's a big problem with that right now.
Yeah.
I hear it all the customers that I still have, various groups that they're using now. When it comes down to the basic refrigeration, they're having a lot of problems with that. The young guys come in, and you can't fault them. I mean, they just don't have the experience, period. And a lot of the old timers with the experience are either completely retiring or, they're going away by other means.
Right.
And it's actually presenting a big problem at this industry right now. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to this yet.
Yep.
Outside of, I talked to a lot of the guys that I know that are either getting out or, basically retiring or whatever, to see if, hey, man, they'd be willing to come in and train.
Yeah, that's a big piece of it.
If for no other reason, if they could just be online, somebody make a phone call to them, that's got the experience with these racks and whatnot to help them out.
Yeah.
I know some of the customers that I deal with now, they're getting so many repeat calls, that should have been fixed a long time ago, but they just keep, they either put a Band-Aid on them or whatever, and they move on, and it keeps coming back. And so that it's presenting a problem there also, but I don't know.
Did you, when you got
strange strange times we're in right now for sure.
Yeah.
What issues are you typically handling these days?
Well, Dave, I know I call Dave a lot myself, with this new equipment that y'all have put out there, but I get a lot of calls from, the various refrigeration groups with questions, and I try to do the best I can. If I get stumped quite a bit myself, and hey, that's when I rely on you guys for that end. But we do seem to get a lot of the calls I get now are from the younger guys coming into the field naturally. They haven't been around it that much, and unfortunately they'll make the call right away, and a lot of them are not going through the basic steps that I see mechanical wise in order to try to troubleshoot the problem. So naturally, the item that they know least about, which would be the controls, that's who's getting the call first.
Yep.
And it kind of eliminate that problem right away. I hate to say this, but what I tell a lot of them, when in doubt, unplug it. Unplug it and let it run, and let's see what happens.
Yep.
But anyway, that's what I'm seeing out here nowadays, and I contributed a lot to the lack of experience, not only on controls, but mechanical experience too. So it's kind of strange times right now, it really is.
When did you get your start in refrigeration?
Oh my Lord, let's see. That was in 1968.
Wow. Okay.
That's a while back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got right into controls, or were you doing some other things first?
No.
I guess.
I actually worked for the government for 10 years. I was a government employee and doing, I started as a helper in refrigeration and HVAC. And that's where I got most of my background as far as the mechanical end. Because back in those days, you virtually did it all. We had a lot of big recip carrier units and train units. And I mean, I was the rebuild king. I was into rebuilding all these big recips and all on site. And I think that came from my motorhead days, because I was a motorhead, still a motorhead. But anyway, I started with that, and I kind of tinkered with controls with Johnson Controls when I was out there at the Naval Station. And I was mostly pneumatics then. And I liked it. It was interesting stuff. And one day I got a call from a fella that I had done some work for, and he was starting a controls company. Matter of fact, I ended up running that company. That was Energy Conservation Management of Louisiana. And we were a franchise from a parent company out of Mobile called Energy Automation Consultants. And we started doing work in the supermarket industry at that time. And we were using PLCs like Texas Instrument, the Westinghouse Pneumologic line, all PLCs, which that's where I learned Boolean logic. That's how it was, which is powerful stuff. And it was interesting. But you created everything with that. And that was way before the canned stuff started coming out. But anyway, we did a lot of work with that. Eventually, I ended up owning that company, which I ran for a couple of years. And I got tied up with the Del Champ supermarkets then. And they were using the old EIL. Matter of fact, it was kind of funny how I got involved with that, if y'all got a minute.
Okay.
I got a phone call one time from Del Champs, the headquarters. They were having problems with a store that had EIL in it with the big panels They covered the whole wall.
Right.
And didn't know a thing about them. And I went down, it was in Mobile, Alabama. I went down there, and every time a particular circuit would go into defrost, you could hear it vibrating through the conduit. They had a short in the conduit, and it actually would blow a fuse and shut down, blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, I found a bad wire, replaced it. Well, from that point on, well, you're the guy. We're going to call you on EIL. I said, okay, that's fine. And that's how it kind of took off from there. And next thing I know, well, EIL, I was doing the work, the service work and all, and some of the installations for EIL through Energy Conservation Management, Louisiana. Make a long story short, we ended up losing the contract to the the Del Champ supermarkets. And about that time, I went through a mess, man. I had all my stuff stolen out the truck, blah, blah, blah. So I actually laid off for about a year. I had just moved to a new location, and I was renovating the house. My wife, thank God, was still working. And I kind of took a year off, okay? And then one day I got a phone call from Keith Botman, and they were looking for a field rep down here in the South.
Yep.
And I told Keith at that time, I think you're talking to him. So went back to work, went up to Baltimore, and needless to say, went back there. And about that time, or wasn't shortly after that, I think we changed the name to ECI, I believe. Is that right?
Right. Yep.
And then few years went by, and well, we were doing a lot of work with Winn-Dixie then.
Right.
So I was kind of the man down here in the South for Winn-Dixie, and well, naturally with the Randalls, Tom Thumb over in Texas, and we also had Winn-Dixies in Texas at that time. So it was interesting time, did a lot of road time.
Yep.
But and then Danfoss came along, and well, the rest of that story. We got involved there, and things were going pretty good. And then I believe that's when, wasn't long after that, y'all acquired the Aztec group, I believe it was.
Right. Yep.
And hung in there with them for a short period of time. But then I made a decision, hey, I want to try this on my own.
Yeah.
And so, hey, there it is. I cranked up US controls and never looked back.
Yeah. Yep.
And we still got that going. Now we got Gordon Spaltz. He's basically running that show now.
Okay.
So, but I'm still hanging in here, man. I get enough calls. Keeps me. I put in probably 2 to 3 full days a week now.
Okay. Yep.
Mainly service. I do some retrofitting, but not that much anymore. I'll let Gordon take care of that. I like the in and out, the service, and I get enough phone calls that I'm sitting here at the desk quite a bit. So and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's good. Keeps me active. And it keeps me in touch with all my customers I've already had and some new ones.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's all good.
Yep. So you spent a lot of years running around down south. Did you ever get into those situations where you had to drive 400 miles, work all night, and then do the same thing all week long?
Dave, I've been in situations where I've driven for 10 hours down to Tampa, Florida to reset a breaker and turn around and drive all the way back.
Yikes. Okay.
20 hours on the road for about 15 minutes in the store.
Wow.
I mean, hey, man, not that happened a lot, but quite a bit, you know. Yep. Especially when you don't have communications with the store. What do you do?
Right.
You're trying to talk somebody through it that just doesn't seem to get it,
Yep.
And Mike, just Just kind of looking at the controls over the years. I mean, is there anything surprising over the way they've changed?
Yes, a lot, a lot. I mean, from the day when I first started, I can say in controls, fooling with PLCs and whatnot, till where we are now, it's actually an amazing journey. It really is. And I can remember it in the beginning of the first, when we first started dabbling into this electronic end of it. It was kind of a battle and a struggle to try to get service people just to come aboard with what was you're trying to do with the electronics, because first of all, they didn't understand it. And second of all, they were always afraid it might take their job for some reason. I used to hear that a lot. Man, we don't want that in here. It's going to take my job. I'm going, no, man, it's going to make your job easier, hopefully, and, more productive.
Yeah.
But, and here we are today now, without electronics, nothing would function. Let's face it, man. It's, right. Because we always refer back to the mechanical end when we do have an electronic problem. But
yeah,
for the most part, the electronics are here, which we already knew. That once it got in there, and the advances that were made now with the plug and play, basically, my God, you can't get it much simpler, really.
Right. Yeah. So what do you spend your time on now these days, Mike?
You mean as far as control wise?
When you're not in a compressor room.
Well, as far as what I do now, I'm into building these old cars and hot rodding them. So yeah. I built a shop and got a lift and all in it. And I built one car, a 40 Chevy coupe, and hot rodded it out. And I'm building a 40 Chevy pickup right now. I'm kind of hung up in the 40s, man. I guess because I was born in 49, so.
Okay, that's a good reason.
Why not?
Sure.
Huh?
That's a good reason. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Matter of fact, we got a big car show down here Saturday, so it ought to be interesting.
Okay, cool. And so getting back to refrigeration, do you have any advice for these new guys coming around, or is it just to put your time in and learn it before you give up on it?
Wait, now you're talking about the service people?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, some of them do take an interest in it, I have to admit, and the ones that do, I try to show them as much as I can of what I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll even tell them, look, come with me into this motor room and we'll go through the steps here.
Yeah.
Because I feel that, I mean, there's a shortage of us people out there, let's face it.
Yeah.
And these, the more that the service industry knows about how to troubleshoot and deal with this stuff, the better off we're all going to be.
Yeah.
What I hate about this is when I get somebody new on it that does not understand the systems and they don't want to learn the systems. Okay.
Yeah.
Next thing you get, they start bashing the system.
Right.
Or they just jump it out.
Yeah.
And that's, I see that enough, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
And that just aggravates me to no end that somebody, now I'm going to tell you what does happen. When I do find a situation like that and I bring it up to the powers to be,
yep,
they get upset, and I don't blame them.
Right.
I mean, you got a system in here that's monitoring and doing what it's supposed to do, and somebody comes in here and bypasses it. Hey, and then you start losing product because of it.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Right.
Now, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I know some people that they'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I think they do it just so, okay, it's running now. I'll bill you and see you later.
Right. That's where the taillight warranty comes in, right?
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I tell you, Mike, it's been a real pleasure having you on the podcast. And of course, we wish you continued success in retirement or even semi-retirement. But Before you go, I always throw a question at Chris during the podcast, which you might have listened to. But are you up for a round of Stump a Cajun?
Yeah, go for it, man. This ought to be easy.
Oh boy.
We'll see. Yeah. So we're not even talking controls here. We're talking about something in your backyard that you might or might not know.
Okay.
So back in 2013, there was a guy named Jim White down there that caught himself a gator over in the West Baton Rouge Parish in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And do you happen to know what was the length and the weight of that gator?
Boy, that's a good one, Dave.
No, you said this is supposed to be easy.
There's so many gators caught down here. All right. I think I did see something on that. I want to say it was over 12 foot.
Correct. Yep. Okay.
I think it was over 12 foot. And I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of, was it somewhere around, it was a little over 1,000 pounds, I believe.
You're a little on the high side, but, okay.
Okay. All right.
How about 13 feet 4 inches
Okay.
and 760 pounds?
Wow.
I think that's
a man. That is a man there. Yeah.
Still a state record.
Well, I tell you, I've seen a few big ones down here when I was living in Pearlington, Mississippi on the Pearl River.
Yep.
At that time, I had a 17-foot Boston whaler.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran into a little cove one time off the Pearl River. And this is no lie. At first, when I looked in the back of that cove, I thought it was a log. But as I got close, I was on the trolling motor.
Mm-hmm.
This thing stood up. And when he stood up, it looked like he was about 4 to 5 foot tall.
Wow.
I'm talking about on all 4 legs.
Okay.
And he was huge, man. I don't know the size completely, but I know for a fact he was well over 12 foot.
Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, I turned the boat around and left. He made his way into the water, and I said, he's way too big. I'm not going to deal with him, man.
Oh, that's probably a smart thing. That's a smart thing.
He was a good size, man, without a doubt. But
okay.
Hey, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for
yeah. Dave,
yeah.
If I can help y'all with any of your problems when they call you up, man, transfer them to me.
Okay.
I'll take you up on that one.
Yeah.
Hey, I hear you, Dave.
You got it.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all more than you know.
Okay. Hey, thanks for being on, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank y'all.
Yep. We'll see you later.
All right. See you.
Okay.
If you'd like to drop us an email with a suggestion for topics to cover, a question or comment, you can email us at ControllerTalkNorthAmerica@danfoss.com. In our next podcast, we'll talk to someone who is still working away up in New Jersey. That is Larry Herman. Thanks for listening. Our studio and video engineers are Michael Don't Call Me Mike Beckerman and Jordan The Man Larsen. Our audio engineer is that international man of mystery himself, Raul Garcia. Until next time, for Chris Brown, I'm Dave Yoder. Stay cool.